He came to America from Nigeria at the age of 25. He worked hard to become a successful American and happily a Texan. This is the story of Ejike Edward Okpa. I visited with my friend in his home in Dallas.
Hey, John, how are you? Good to see you.
Good. Look forward to talking to you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
We got quite a collection here.
Yes, I've been collecting stuff. This is my Texas map. Shows the Texas, beautiful country, even though it's a state.
Yeah.
And my books, all of it I have read, because I like to educate myself, reading and digesting. So history, economics, politics, biography, I have a whole bunch of them.
What's your primary interest?
Presidential history. Presidents, what they did, why they did it, and how they came to run for office, the challenges of being in the office. Oftentimes people think it's a glamorous job. It's not a glamorous job. In fact, it's a lonely job, because oftentimes you got to be alone, to make that decision. And sometimes you make that call and everybody's screaming, but then that's what you got to do.
It's all well they're throwing rocks at you too.
Yeah.
Verbal rocks.
Yes. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, my friend here, Governor Perry, had a fundraiser for him in this house.
One of your chairs.
And he signed this chair, and this chair is made of Texas cowhide. This is a chair signed by Governor Perry, 2010.
Oh, yeah.
Rick Perry, Governor. Greg Abbott, Governor. All of them were in my home for a fundraiser. Well, my first name is Ejike Edward Okpa. Ejike is E-J-I-K-E. Edward, then Okpa. OKPA. People call me Edward, people call me Okpa. Yeah. Well, I was born and raised in Nigeria. So I went to college in Nigeria. My dad was in politics. And he was, my village chief, colonial time, before Nigeria became independent. My dad was heavily involved in the politics of my region. And so, seeing my dad get involved in public service. I don't like to call him a politician, basically a public service, because for him he saw politics as a role, to help make a difference. It wasn't necessarily about, the title. To him it was more of a sacrifice, and he felt he could provide, leadership to make a difference. And then from there, watching that, and I've always felt, I like to be like my dad. Most sons always like to look after, take after their parent.
You participated some in political activities.
Yes.
What's been your experience?
Well, coming from, Nigeria, where politics is very rough, and the system...
Rougher than here?
Rougher than here, because there are kidnapping and killings and all kinds of intimidation, physical things done for candidates by candidates. So I embrace the American system because of, even though sometimes our verbal attack on each other looks uncivil, but it's pretty mild, and so I like it. I like the American system. If I was born here, I would have run for president, but because I'm a naturalized citizen, I'm limited to what I can do. But hey, I ran for mayor in Dallas. I enjoyed the experience. Who knows what else I can run for? But no, I like the American political system. I didn't win, but I didn't lose anything either. Because the only time you lose an election is if you are already in office and you run for re-election and then you lose it. But if you never won it, you haven't lost. I think it would be a good thing, for participation of everybody who's an American on both sides of the political aisle. I don't subscribe to the notion that there's going to be a special effort, to bring blacks or Hispanic or Asians. Make a choice. You know what those parties stand for. Don't sit on the side and let somebody come like cajole you, woo you, or appease you. Nobody did that for me. I'm a Republican by choice. I mean, I have friends that are Democrats. I don't have anything against them, but nobody said, Edward, you know, the Republican Party is looking for black folks, you know, come and join. No, no, no. I participate in the Republican Party because I feel that is where my natural way of thinking belongs. I mean, you know, does it mean everybody that is a Republican, you know, is a friend of mine? That's not what this is about. It's about us being on one side of the political aisle. So, you know, the African Americans or those people who want a special invitation, this is America. What are you waiting for the special invitation? I said to my black folks, there are equal number of Anglos as Democrats, equal number of Anglos as Republicans. So it doesn't matter who is the president. They are both players and referees. But the African Americans just players. So they're always looking for a referee. So that's why they're always looking for somebody who is going to call the game in their favor. But if you have your equal number of your folks on both sides, it doesn't matter who wins or loses. We are Americans. So that's why you see the clamoring. Oh, we want a Democrat, you know, because he's going to take care of you. No. No. I mean, like I said, you know, the Anglos are the standards. So they are both sides of the coin. So it doesn't matter. They are in it. I'm supporting Trump. I'm a Trump supporter. First of all, I mean, I think we need to do something about the political landscape in Washington, D.C. You know, our political landscape has remained, you know, virtually predictable. But, you know, in the 21st century, we welcome disruptive business practices, you know, where, boom, somebody comes in, nobody thought, you know, knew him or thought, what are they going to do? And they do something. So I think Trump, with all his minuses, I prefer him over Hillary because he's a businessman. I mean, the guy has been successful. Up until this time, a lot of these people that are screaming, oh, we don't want Trump, if he had invited them to the apprentice show, they would have been jumping in and say, oh, look at I'm going to Trump apprentice, you know, program. But now he wants to be president. Oh, he's not qualified. He has made money. He has built things that all of us can do. What has Hillary done? I mean, basically in her life, she has done what? Being a beneficiary of government program, office in, office out. But here's somebody who has been in business. So let us try a business person. Let us for once depart from the traditional way people have become president in this country. And then I believe the office of the president has a way of taming somebody. You could say whatever you want, but once you get into that awful office and sit down, then you now know this is not, you know, this is not a child's play. There's a different attitude that comes to play. And then you begin to listen, you begin to seek counsel, because now you're not president for one part of America, you're president for America. You're not the president for the Democratic Party. You're not the president for the Republican Party. You're American president. This is the model airplane that brought JFK to Dallas and then flown back to Washington, D.C. by LBJ, this is the model plane LBJ was sworn in as president, the only of his kind in the world, and the last president to fly it was Jimmy Carter, and I have an autographed paperweight signature of Jimmy Carter. You know, I was born in Nigeria, but I didn't come to America to become a Nigerian. I came here to be an American. And because I came here to be an American, you know, I have to give up certain things that made me leave that country. You know, I mean, let's go to the Bible. The Bible says nobody can serve two masters at the same time and do a good job of it. So why would I be confused about, oh, am I in Nigeria, am I in America? I'm in America. My father told me before coming here, he said, look, you go into a country where people will not know who you are. They're going to make fun of your background, your accent, a whole lot of things. If that's going to be an issue for you, please don't go. I said, okay, fine. I came, I saw some of it, but I was reminded of what my dad said. So I don't, when people call me names, it doesn't disturb me. I'm just like, Okay, fine. But I just hope they don't touch me because I will defend myself. So, you know, I don't want to be a victim of a history that depresses me. My ethnic background comes from people who have been enslaved, people who have been colonized, but they didn't do it to me. Should I be crying of what somebody did to my grandfather, my great-grandfather? My mom always said to me, how much time do you need to cry? So when you finish crying, I can come back and we can talk about what we need to talk about. So I always stop. I mean, the world is full of injustices, but the injustice that I want to account for is the one that I can prove, the one that has happened to me, but not the thing that happened to me 300 years ago, 400 years ago, 50 years. In fact, sometimes I do some things my wife is asking me, I say, well, I don't even remember. It's because I got to move on. This is the affidavit of financial support. You know, my dad swore for me to get visa to come to America. At the time in 1985 when this was done. So, I came here, not somebody running away from Nigeria. I came because I wanted to come.
And he had to write the letter.
And he has to write, he swore to declare his assets so that they can give me visa. Signed his signature, British Airways. From Lagos to London to Dallas. With all my boarding passes. I know my seat number, so nobody can say.
You were how old then?
25.
Wow, when you came to America.
Yeah, but I know my seat number. I could tell you the seat number I sat in.
And framed the ticket.
And framed it with the receipt and the boarding pass at each of the airport. If you pander to the people, if you feed to what their emotional thing is, you can make them react in the way you want them to react. I mean, I condemn, police actions that are unjust and illegal. But at the same time, I said we have to conduct ourselves in a manner so that we don't attract undue attention that might lead to something. The police, I've been pulled over before. Would I say I've been pulled over because of where I look for? I can make that case. And somebody obviously is going to align with me and say, oh yeah, but maybe I was speeding. Maybe I do something for police to pull me over. So I don't want to get into, how the Black American feels. I didn't grow up with them. Their history is their history. But I'm saying it's a new day. We are all at the traffic light and it's green. Can we keep going? If you don't move, when it's green, somebody's going to run you over. Somebody's going to run you over. Use the history as a motivation and inspiration to do better. But not to look backwards so much to where you lose sight of what today is and what tomorrow has as a promise. Look, thank you, Mr. Butler, for doing this. I've always enjoyed, getting to know you. I love America, okay? I came here by choice. That's always what I tell people. I came to America by choice and then I live in Dallas by choice. And I said, this is where I'm going to make my home, make my name. And thank God, I have some name recognition. I'm not a celebrity, but I love my community. And what I say to our people, can we make America better? If people come from somewhere and they want to practice their culture here, why did you come? If your culture is such an important thing for you, then practice is to where you are very familiar with it. But don't come here and induce me to join your culture. If you want to be a Muslim and you want to cover your face and do all of that stuff, that's not what we do in America. Stay back wherever that is and do it. But don't come here and demand from me to obey your culture or speak your language. I have a native language. What if I want America to make my language the official, part of the language we speak in America? Where do we stop with that? Because everybody in the world is represented in this great country. So should we not have everybody's language put on the street sign, put in our books, so that because we are accommodating? No. In economics, there's what they call barrier to entry. Barrier to entry is what creates value. If we hand the passport to everyone that shows up at the airport, the American passport will not have any value. So you got to go through a process to earn it. And when you earn it, appreciate it. Don't undermine the country. The country is not an imaginary person, it's the individual. You are the country. Make it better, make it good.
Thanks for following me on JohnButlersBuzz.com. Hope to see you down the road.